Sometimes we think it's just a busy season, but it's actually burnout, and you need to take some time away if that's what's happening for you. And listen to your body, listen to your mind, recognize that you're burnt out, focus on yourself, take some time off of work, prioritize self-care activities, get better, because ultimately your work products are going to suffer if you're in this stage. If you want to be as successful as possible in work and life, you need to fill your own cup. Hey everyone, welcome to the Naked Truth with Lauren Season 2. Welcome back if you're a Season 1 listener, and welcome for the first time if you're tuning in for the first time. We are going to be talking all about the messy realities of navigating your 20s this season, and I am promising you real, stripped-down conversations about work, friendship, dating, self-worth, and the growing pains that no one warns you about at this age. Hopefully, you will feel a little less alone after listening. I'm your host, Lauren, a 29-year-old professional living in DC, passionate about creating spaces for open conversations and building genuine community. And I am so glad you're here. Thank you so much to our Season 2 podcast sponsors, Kelly Miller, Marika and Batman Pierce, Pauline Shu, and Jenny Porter. I couldn't do this without you. Hey guys, coming to you, just a girl who actually thinks recording solo is kind of scary, and it's actually not my favorite thing to do. But yeah, so today's episode is going to be all about the week I realized my burnout wasn't just a busy season, and that was January of this year, January 2026. Basically, I told myself that January would just be a push month between 2 vision board workshops, one in person, one virtual, and finishing season 1 of the podcast all by myself. And then I would rest. And I was wrong. I was lying to myself without knowing it. I think this might be relatable for a lot of you working 9-to-5 corporate jobs or just like full-time. We often think I just have to get through this one project or I just have to get through this one deadline, but the finish line like keeps moving and it feels like it never ends. And sometimes you can feel like you're on the hamster wheel. So just coming to you with a relatable story that it doesn't end. If you are thinking about quitting your 9-to-5 in entrepreneurship, there's still burnout and busy seasons. Arguably, it could be more busy, especially as a solopreneur, like running the business by myself. I find myself working longer hours oftentimes than when I was working at Deloitte. But anyway, to try to not go on tangents, I want to keep the solo episodes shorter so they're more digestible. It's unscripted, but I do write down bullet points that I want to go over just so I could keep myself in tune with the key points and be as helpful as possible to you, the audience. You're going to thank me. My family always says I'm so long-winded when I'm telling a story. They're like, land the plane, Lauren. So I'm going to stay on topic. I might go off on a tangent here and there, but I'm going to keep it short. Anyway, let's get back to January of this year. I ran an in-person vision boarding and yoga workshop with Bhakti Yoga DC on January 4th of this year, I think, and I was planning on doing a virtual vision board workshop at the end of January while simultaneously self-editing the podcast. So I had a podcast editing intern who had left. She realized like she wasn't really into podcast editing. It wasn't the work for her. So she left early and I was editing, and editing drains my energy. Honestly, don't like to do it. It's not a strength of mine. So it was a lot. And I decided to take a break between season 1 and season 2 because I was burnt out in January, honestly. But with all of the things going on, there was a lot of back end organizational tasks that took way longer than expected for these vision boarding workshops. So like promoting and advertising a workshop or any of your work is like a whole other job in and of itself, I've been learning. Getting the word out there and getting people to come and sign up, it's a lot of effort. And promoting the in-person vision board workshop across all platforms was during the end of December, the holiday timeframe when everyone's winding down. And then beginning of January was a lot, especially for that time where it's kind of like the world's in hibernation. And typically in my old job, I would have a week-long disconnect between Christmas and New Year's. And I don't really think I did that. That was the first time in a long time. I haven't had that time off to like decompress. It was a lot creating content to promote the vision board workshop and then posting it with proper captions and hashtags, etc., across all these different platforms and sending it out like individually, sending it out in my newsletter, sending it out individually to people I thought would be interested or who would ask me about it. And then came the virtual vision board workshop to have like a virtual option at the end of the month. I built a whole new web page on my website via Squarespace for this. And then I was experimenting with copy to see what drives signups. The first web page didn't drive any signups, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I met with my business coach. We talked about it. She said a lot of the times the copy on the page has something to do with it. Let's change the copy. And then we revamped the whole thing. I did all different copy on the web page. That didn't really drive signups. I had one person sign up and it was kind of stalling. I don't know, the market wasn't taking to it. And I was kind of feeling down about it. And promoting this virtual vision board workshop was a lot of effort too. And then creating an email sequence in the back end leading up to the virtual workshop and after the workshop with bonuses. I was also taking advice and guidance from my business coach, and she's a really experienced entrepreneur and coach herself, and she does virtual webinars and stuff. And she was explaining that when someone signs up, you've got not only the confirmation email, but you have like an email sequence leading up to it with reminder emails, join at this time. Here's the link to join, giving them a heads up about what they need, what it'll be about, how long it'll be, etc. And then after the workshop, like an immediate follow-up email, and then offering a bonus for your coaching services or some product or service of yours is typical. And then having the bonus be live for X amount of time, and then creating not just one, but several follow-up emails, because it takes a lot of reminders for people to take action. So it was a lot. It was my first time doing a more legit version of the virtual vision board workshop, and I put a lot of work in on the back end. And then at the same time in January, I had back-to-back trips. One to Florida, a week-long trip with my family to visit my parents. And then from there, I went directly to a friend's skiing trip in Wisp in Maryland. And on social media, it may have looked like I was living the dream, but behind the scenes, it was a lot to balance. It was very hard. I was exhausted, and I was trying to balance working some hours each day, but also spending quality time with my loved ones, my family, my friends, and enjoying the vacations or travel. But it was just like a busy season with work, so it was really hard to do and disconnect from work. Whereas in the past, when I had actual PTO at Deloitte, I would be really good about disconnecting completely from work and like mentally recharging. And this just wasn't the time for that. So balancing it all was a lot. And then it was kind of ironic because I was teaching people how to build vision boards for their dream lives while mine felt like it was falling apart. I was barely holding it together. And I was like, something is wrong here, you know? And so that actually led me to a breaking point. So basically, the virtual vision board was struggling with signups, and I had to cancel it a couple days before. And I just remember making that decision to cancel it and feeling like I had failed. This was the first time, I guess, in my entrepreneurship journey where I really felt like I failed, or like something that I planned didn't work out and I didn't go through with it. And I was sitting at my computer and I had just put so much work and time and energy into it on the back end, promoting it and sending emails about it and making email sequences. And I just started crying. The tears were falling, couldn't control it. I was just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. I feel like I failed. I was pretty down on myself, pretty hard on myself. And I was like, I can't do this. I just realized I literally can't do this. My body felt heavy. Like I needed to stop and listen to my body. I was just burnt out. And the burnout made me feel like I was losing grip on my goals, and my energy was drained, which meant my business strategy and work products suffered. So I really needed to take a break. I needed to take time off, which is really hard to do because at this stage in my business and being a solopreneur who runs their business single-handedly, if I don't work, nothing happens and no income will be generated, and it's scary. So I think especially like being a solopreneur, this type of role can lead to like a support vacuum where I feel like I have to wear all hats at once. So to be the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the COO, like every aspect of the business is me. And it's just really hard. And I felt a lack of support. If I'm being honest, if I'm being transparent, messy realities, you know, I'm just a girl in her 20s trying to like figure it out and navigate it to the best of my ability. And so I realized, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to take a day off. I need to mentally decompress. I took some time, maybe like a day or two, fully off of work. And then I was coordinating things here and there. So like working a couple hours a day and just kind of trying to do some self-care activities like journaling and meditating and making sure I prioritize working out, moving my body, things that make me happy. I went to a concert and danced all night, like live music, and dancing makes me happy. It's rejuvenating for me. So I prioritized that. And I really did a lot of processing on the failure I was internalizing and experiencing. I processed with my business coach. I processed in therapy. And it really helped me reframe it as a learning lesson and then use it as data to move forward. And after I took that break, I had a refresh of creative energy. And because I allowed myself to take a step back and take that time off, not only did I personally benefit from that, the business benefited from that. So I benefited professionally. Okay, I actually hate sweating when I sleep, and I'm a hot sleeper. Cozy Earth solved this problem with its bamboo sheet set, which provides cooling comfort and unparalleled softness. And I got you 21% off. Just use my code TRUTH at checkout at cozyearth.com. If you use code TRUTH, TRUTH, you'll get 21% off. And if you forget, use the link in the show notes for all the details. Apparently, Oprah has included Cozy Earth on her favorite things list for 7 consecutive years, so you know it's got to be good. More Lab's Morning Recovery is the #1 alcohol recovery supplement that helps you wake up clear-headed and refreshed. It comes in handy whether you've had a late night out, a long workday, or just need a boost. Their clinically proven formula is powered by DHM, which is a plant-based ingredient that helps the liver process toxins efficiently, fights fatigue, and reduces sluggishness. Enjoy 25% off with promo code NAKED at morelabs.com. It's promo code NAKED, NAKED, at morelabs.com for 25% off, or use the link in the show notes. This burnout taught me a few things. I learned having a vision board is great, but you need the clarity to say no to things that drain your battery, even if they are good opportunities. You got to learn to listen to your body. And oftentimes I feel like when we're stressed out or we're at work, we're disconnected from our bodies. And this is something I've been trying to get better about and unlearn and stay in tune with my body, but I'm not perfect. I don't always do it. And I realized my body was trying to tell me one thing in January and I wasn't listening to it. So just really listening to what your mind and body are telling you is really beneficial. And saying no to certain things that you know are going to drain your battery is also really beneficial. Maybe it's good opportunity for the future, but it's not for now. And I also was forced into the present moment because I simply ran out of energy and I had to listen to my body and take a step back and deprioritize productivity, which is hard for me because I place a lot of value on how productive I am. And I think I'm not alone in this. Like, I think especially in the capitalistic society in America that we live in, we are taught and we learn to prioritize productivity over everything and measure our value based on our productivity. And that's also something I'm actively trying to unlearn and work on. But again, it's a work in progress and I'm not perfect at it. And so this situation forced me to be present over being productive and measuring my worth solely on my productivity, which was a good lesson. And I also realized that I can't do everything by myself and that self-editing the podcast was not sustainable in the long run. So I had previously spoken with my business coach about how I was thinking of hiring a podcast editor, but it was a tough decision because I wasn't really generating a lot of income for the business. So it's hard to prioritize outsourcing and paying someone for a service or like hiring even part-time staff when you don't have a lot of money coming in, but ultimately outsourcing and allowing yourself to prioritize tasks that don't drain you and focus on like your zone of genius is what will make the business grow and grow the revenue and generate income in the long run. So I had to really learn that. So I decided to hire a podcast editor for season 2, who I'm working with now. And I'm really grateful for that because it allows me to focus on other work that is more like up my alley, my strength, and just have more energy to focus on revenue generating work and grow the business. These were key lessons that I learned. And you kind of only learn when you're at rock bottom. So you got to experience it and go through it. But I'm hoping that sharing this will help people avoid complete burnout or like take proactive action, I guess, and avoid getting to the point where I was in January. And I want it to be less of a universal experience for us Americans, especially. All this to say, sometimes we think it's just a busy season, but it's actually burnout. And you need to take some time away if that's what's happening for you and listen to your body, listen to your mind, recognize that you're burnt out, focus on yourself, take some time off of work, prioritize self-care activities, get better, because ultimately your work products are going to suffer if you're in this stage. If you want to be as successful as possible in work and life, you need to fill your own cup. So I will leave you with one small doable action. So this is like a practical thing that you can implement this week. Next time you're about to commit to a busy season, ask yourself, will I regret it if I don't do this? If the answer is no, and it's purely about the external pressure of doing the thing, and it's not aligned with you and your values internally, it's a no. Say no. Saying no is good. It's a boundary you got to put in place sometimes. And also, you could do a little audit this week. Pick one task that you hate, like editing or data entry, whether that's your work, in your side hustle, in your personal life, and find a way to delegate this task or simplify it this week. This could be like using Claude to brainstorm with as a collaborative thought partner, or like sometimes I treat AI tools like my interns, and describe the task that you hate doing and ask Claude how to simplify it this week, or strategies to delegate it this week, or ask Claude if it could do this task for you, because you'd be surprised at what AI tools can do. So make sure you do a detailed prompt. Make sure you give it as much context as possible. You can assign it a role. The output of AI works better if you say something like, you are a lawyer who specializes in content creation law and helping content creators get paid what they're worth or secure high-paying brand deals. Like I've done that kind of prompting in the past. Or like, you are an expert business coach for women who is skilled at strategy for XYZ type of role or business. And then we'll end the sentence. And then you ask it to do the specific thing. So help me come up with a strategy to simplify podcast editing for my episode going live this week, for example. So yeah, if you have any questions about AI too, feel free to email me. I'm happy to talk about it. I geek out over AI, so I'm always down to chat. I'll end by saying, if you're currently crying at your desk, or you're in a bathroom stall at your 9 to 5, this is your sign that it is not just a busy season. It's time to breathe. It's time to take a step back, text a friend or me, and just say, I'm tired. Start there. It's as simple as that. You can start a conversation, and it really goes a long way to have a sounding board to bounce your ideas or feelings or thoughts off of. And maybe this person can give you ideas on how to prioritize yourself or which self-care activities to focus on, you know, if they know you really well, or how to delegate the task, or maybe they could help you with this specific task. So just texting someone saying, I'm tired, it's the simplest way to start if you're feeling burnt out. Thanks for listening to The Naked Truth with Lauren. If you like the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review it on whatever platform you're listening or watching. It helps other women just like you to find the show. And if you have a friend who needs to hear this episode, share it with them. If you want to hear more from me, sign up for my Community Gratitude Practice newsletter at thenakedtruthwithlauren.com. You'll receive a quick dose of gratitude every week to help shift your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful in your life. And you can follow along on Instagram at thenakedtruth.pod for more inspiring content. Catch you on the next episode.